Welcome to the Divorce Lawyers podcast, brought to you by DivorceLawyers.ca. I'm Deepa Taylor, and today we're diving deep into a topic that often comes with mixed emotions: prenuptial agreements. Whether you're newly engaged, considering marriage, or just curious about protecting your assets, this episode is for you. Before we begin, it's important to note that while this podcast offers valuable insights, it's not a substitute for professional legal advice. For personalized guidance, please consult one of our lawyers by visiting DivorceLawyers.ca. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a prenuptial agreement, or a prenup as it's often called? Essentially, a prenup is a legally binding contract created by two people before they get married. This contract outlines how assets, debts, and financial matters will be handled in the event of a divorce or the death of a spouse. It's a way to ensure clarity and fairness, protecting both parties as they enter into marriage. It's worth noting that in Ontario, the legal term we use is marriage contract, but for the purposes of this discussion, we'll stick to the more commonly used term, prenuptial agreement. Why would someone want a prenup? While it may not be the most romantic topic to discuss before marriage, a prenup can actually strengthen a relationship by setting clear expectations and reducing the potential for conflict later on. It's about planning for the future, just like you would with life insurance or a will. There are many misconceptions surrounding prenuptial agreements. One of the biggest myths is that asking for a prenup means you're planning for the marriage to fail. This couldn't be further from the truth. A prenup is more about being practical and acknowledging that life can be unpredictable. Another common misconception is that prenups are only for the wealthy. While it's true that high net worth individuals often use prenups to protect their assets, anyone with personal or family assets, significant debts, or children from a previous relationship might consider one. There's also the myth that prenups are unfair or one-sided. A well-drafted prenup is designed to protect both parties, ensuring that each person's interests are considered. In fact, for a prenup to be valid in Ontario, it must be entered into voluntarily by both parties, with full financial disclosure and the opportunity for independent legal advice. If these conditions aren't met, a court could invalidate the agreement. So, what goes into a prenuptial agreement? Typically, it covers things like how property and assets will be divided if the marriage ends. This could include real estate, investments, and personal belongings. A prenup also addresses how debts will be handled, especially if one partner is bringing significant debt into the marriage. Additionally, the agreement can specify whether spousal support will be paid and under what terms. It can also protect inheritances or gifts received by one spouse, ensuring they remain separate property. If one or both partners own a business, the prenup can outline how the business will be treated in the event of a divorce. However, it's important to note that in Ontario, a prenuptial agreement cannot decide matters like child custody or support. These are always determined by the court based on the best interests of the child at the time of divorce. Creating a prenuptial agreement involves several steps. Both parties must fully disclose their financial situation, including assets, debts, and income. This transparency ensures the agreement is fair and legally binding. Each party should have their own lawyer to review the agreement and provide independent legal advice, which helps ensure both individuals fully understand the terms. The terms of the prenup are then negotiated, ensuring both parties feel comfortable with the agreement. Once everything is agreed upon, the lawyers draft the document, ensuring the language is clear to avoid misunderstandings in the future. Finally, both parties sign the agreement in the presence of witnesses, making it legally binding. It's important to take the process seriously because a prenup can be challenged in court if it's deemed unfair or if there was coercion or a lack of full financial disclosure. Now, you might be wondering, do I really need a prenuptial agreement? The answer depends on your situation. If one or both of you have significant assets, a prenup can protect those assets. If one partner has more debt, a prenup can ensure you're not responsible for their debts if the marriage ends. If you own a business, a prenup can protect your business from disruption. And if you have children from a previous relationship, a prenup can help ensure that your children's inheritance is protected. Discussing a prenup can feel sensitive, but it's important to approach the conversation with honesty and respect. Frame the discussion as a way to protect both of your interests and to avoid future conflict. It's not about mistrust, it's about being responsible and proactive. For example, consider Britney Spears, who included a clause in her prenup with Kevin Federline that awarded him $500,000 for each year of marriage. It's an interesting approach to spousal support. Some couples also include a sunset clause, which states that the prenup will expire after a certain number of years or after a specific event, like the birth of a child. As we wrap up, remember that a prenuptial agreement isn't just a legal document. It's a way to start your marriage on solid ground. By addressing financial matters up front, you and your partner can focus on building a life together, knowing you've taken steps to protect your future. If you're considering a prenuptial agreement, it's important to consult with an experienced family lawyer. For personalized guidance, please consult one of our family lawyers by visiting DivorceLawyers.ca. We're here to help you navigate the complexities of family law and ensure your interests are protected. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Divorce Lawyers podcast. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care and remember that knowledge is power when it comes to your legal rights. This has been the Divorce Lawyers podcast, brought to you by DivorceLawyers.ca. Subscribe, share, and tune in next time for more insights on family law in Ontario.